The challenge was framed as a joke, an easy spectacle for a crowded gym. A black belt smirked, the room chuckled, and a black woman stepped onto the mat with quiet, steady focus. The air carried amusement and doubt, the kind that arrives before you do and lingers after you leave. But in less than a minute, laughter drained into a hush. Technique eclipsed ego. Control replaced cruelty. A moment revealed more than skill. It exposed the unwritten rules of who is allowed to be respected. When a joke becomes a test, who walks away unchanged? Maya didn't wear bravado. She wore consistency. Early mornings on a mat that smelled faintly of disinfectant and resolve. Calloused hands from hundreds of grips. A notebook thick with drills, footwork patterns, and reminders to keep breathing when the room gets loud. She wasn't new to being underestimated, especially in spaces where strength was confused for loudness and seniority for wisdom. The gym was a sanctuary and a battlefield. Punching bags swinging like metronomes, jump ropes flicking rhythm onto concrete, taped fingers tying discipline to muscle memory. She arrived at the Saturday open mat with the usual calm. Stretch, shadow, breathe, review. Visitors packed the place. Names embroidered on belts, patches stitched across GIs like passport stamps. I slid past her the way they often did, pausing only to ask if she was coaching cardio or snapping photos for social media. She logged the moment without letting it root. This session doubled as a demo, and the energy bent toward performance. Cameras hovered. Egos warmed up. The head instructor ran through fundamentals for the newcomers, then handed the floor to a guest black belt known for turning technique into theater. The room's attention tilted his way, and soon toward Maya, for reasons that had little to do with skill and everything to do with a script older than the mats themselves. We're on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support makes these stories possible. If this resonates with you, please subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and stay for the final can't-miss moment. Now back to the story. The guest floated through warm-ups like a headliner. He played to the crowd, riding the buzz of an audience ready to be entertained. When it came time for partners, he scanned the room with exaggerated deliberation and let his gaze land on Maya. The selection felt casual to everyone but her. The gym's laugh was the kind that pretends to be harmless while drawing lines in chalk. Maya measured the space between expectation and choice. Backing away would be read as weakness. Stepping forward would be framed as audacity. She was painfully familiar with how often black women are made into tests, proof points for someone else's lesson. Still, she didn't come here to be anyone's cautionary tale. She came to work. She walked onto the mat and felt it. The room quieting into anticipation, the small cameras of phones rising to eye level, the shifting posture of people who enjoy being surprised as long as it doesn't rearrange their worldview. The head instructor set boundaries, light contact, control, a clean exchange for the demo. Maya rolled her shoulders, felt the breath drop into her diaphragm, and focused. The first exchange would tell her everything. He moved with the confidence of someone used to winning before he touched anyone. Hands loose, center high, steps wide for show. She watched his rhythm, half-beat feints, pressure without commitment, a habit of leaving one side unguarded after a flourish. She made a plan in the time it took to exhale. They circled. The mat squeaked. She felt the old weight of every room where respect had to be earned 3 times. The gym leaned in, eyes bright for spectacle, ready to laugh at a stumble and cheer at a surprise. The head instructor raised a palm. The signal came. The room held its breath. Maya met his first rush with stillness, letting momentum spend itself. She redirected pressure with a small angle and a patient step, turning force into emptiness. The echo of his footfall told her where his balance lived. She touched the floor with purpose, swept cleanly, and landed in control without a thud. The crowd inhaled in unison, expecting a scramble. None came. She didn't chase dominance. She collected it. Weight distributed where leverage mattered, hips low, spine aligned. When he bridged, she flowed to a safer plane. When he tried to trap, she unwove the knot before it cinched. She felt his breathing change, from performative to practical to strained. She guided him through a corridor of choices that narrowed with every attempt to muscle out. The finish, when it arrived, was decisive and merciful. A transition that looked simple only because of 1,000 untelevised reps. Control set without cruelty. An exit offered the instant he asked for it with the smallest tap. She released before the second one landed. The gym didn't explode. It went silent in the strange way rooms do when a story they've told themselves runs into a new ending. Maya stood smoothly, offering space rather than a celebration. The moment's power wasn't in the win. It was in the manner of it. No gloating, no grandstanding, just clarity. Technique over ego. Dignity over spectacle. The joke had traveled a full circle and found its origin. Word of the exchange spread faster than any scheduled highlight. The quiet traveled too, the kind that arrives when people rethink the reflexes they didn't know they had. Newer students watched Maya with a different lens, noting the patience, the economy of motion, the decisions invisible to most. A few visitors who had once looked through her now nodded in acknowledgement that felt overdue. The guest black belt packed up with a practiced neutrality that covered embarrassment without resolving it. The head instructor reset the mat, then reset the culture, reinforcing the boundaries that should have governed the space long before the demo. In the days that followed, a subtle shift took root. Fewer jokes dressed as tests, more questions asked with real curiosity, more invitations to teach, fewer assumptions about who belonged where. Maya returned to routine, drills, breathwork, notes, carrying a new kind of calm. The victory was not a trophy but a framework. She began hosting a weekly fundamentals hour that prioritized safety and respect, especially for newcomers who had learned to brace for condescension before contact. The room learned, slowly, that skill does not ask for permission to exist and that dignity is not a prize for performing well under doubt. This wasn't just a gym story. It was a reminder that many spaces measure worth by the wrong metrics and laugh lines by the wrong jokes. How many rooms will keep pretending that respect must be earned twice by some and never at all by others? And what might change if we chose to start from respect, not arrive at it only after silence?